This is Small Talk with 101 ESPN's Michelle Smallmon.
It's episode 157 of Small Talk. Steve Ceruti and Michelle Smallmon are here. Steve, Happy New Year. I mean, it's January 21st. It's the first time we're doing a podcast in 2022, and we're way past the threshold where Happy New Year is appropriate. But since we haven't spoken since really New Year's Eve, Happy New Year, bud. Glad to be back here on the pod. Glad to be chatting with you.
You too. I'm actually pumped, and I'm kind of glad that, not that we took the hiatus, but I don't like the month of January because it's like it's the resolution month, right? And I don't do resolutions. So why don't we just skip to February when everyone starts being their old self? That's what I want. I want the real version of everybody. So the closer to February we get, the better it is. But it's good to be back. I missed you. I missed doing the pod. Shout out to everyone who was like, where the hell have you guys been? But we do have I have a lot of things that I want to get to. So this should be kind of a fun pod, including I wanted to update you that the other day I did the Red Taylor's version Peloton ride with Robin. I know it came out a few months ago, but I finally got around to it.
I haven't done it.
You should, although I don't know that I needed 10 minutes of All Too Well in the middle there. Like it just wasn't the vibe I was going for, Peloton style. But you know, we had a couple other good stuff. Stay was in there. So I've been on my Peloton vibe. I've been trying to do that, trying to get in shape. Not that it's a resolution, but yeah, man, happy to be back and happy to be chatting with you.
I know you don't do resolutions, but do you have a goal, a 2022 goal or aspiration?
Probably to like work less. I don't know. It's been a busy couple of months and trying to relax. No, like I would like to. I always do this thing where like I flirt with, oh, you know, Maddie, do you think we could maybe like give up carbs for the month, or you know, maybe we should go, vegetarian for the month. I've always said that I could be a vegetarian, but it's not. I just don't want to think of meals that are vegetarian. Like if I had a personal chef, I could be vegetarian because I think vegetarian things are very good. But I don't want to cook things that are vegetarian. I don't want to like think of like cool recipes. I can never be vegan. So I've kicked around different diets and things like that. It's never gonna happen. It's just not gonna. You know me. It's not gonna happen. But yeah, I like to get in better shape. So I'm trying to. We're doing the Peloton a little bit more. It's been tough though, because like I don't know how you feel, but I'm just in the house all the time. I know you at least get out to go to work, but like it's freezing cold here. Like there's no reason to be outside. We can't even take the dogs for a walk. So this is like really the what's the phrase for like when people are on a ship, and they're like stuck on the ship and they have like I can't think of what the hell it is.
They're like moored.
No, like when people like they're like stuck. It's when people like when they would sail across the Atlantic Ocean, they would get like they called it something because they wouldn't be able to go anywhere. Stir crazy. That's not what it is, but anyway, that's how I feel right now because I don't really go anywhere, and it snowed a few times here. So not much to do, unfortunately. I hope your life is a little bit more exciting than mine.
Well, the first thing that came up when I Googled what you just said, Steve, was hostage. So let's.
No, I have not been taken hostage. I promise. I'm here on my free will, but
yeah,
but I'll think of it.
Yeah, things are good here. I have never worked out less in my entire life than I have in the past few weeks. I think I've worked out one day a week, which has been very liberating for me. I feel like all I do is watch games and work and then lay on the couch, like wrapped in my robe and 17 blankets because it's so cold. I can't muster up the energy to get on the Peloton. I go to.
Oh, you haven't been on the grind? You have not been on the grind?
Have not been on the grind.
Michelle.
I know I'm getting ready to go on vacation, and normally like pre-vacation Michelle is trying to lose weight because I know I'm going to gain a bunch on the trip. So I always try to play for the tie. Pre-vacation Michelle is just like, couldn't care less. Like this is going to be actually like 2022 Michelle is just like, couldn't care less. That's just kind of like my vibe going into anything now. I don't know what happened to me, but I just have stopped trying to cater to other people's needs. Like, I, of course, want to be considerate of others.
Is that your resolution?
Well, yeah, because I just feel like, especially women, like we tend to defer to others, and like we're more concerned about like the perception of ourselves sometimes and like actually doing what serves us. And so now I'm just saying no a lot. I've been trying to do that like in 2021, but in 2022, I just feel like I'm saying what I feel. If I
like
don't
somebody will
do
ask you if you want to go out to dinner, and you're just like, nah, I'm good. No explanation.
So like, for
I don't want to go.
Someone asked me to do something the other day, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that.
What did they ask you to do? Was it like a friendly thing, a work thing?
It was like, will you spend the time to like meet with this person? Not, and I just was like, no. And they go, do you like have something going on? Like, is this a different date work?
Would you like to explain that?
I don't want to do that.
I respect that a lot of it.
the person looked so taken aback, and I was just like, what is so wrong with saying no? It would have just been a waste of time. I was like, why don't we circle back if there's movement on anything? But like, I don't want to waste a couple hours of my day for something that is not going to be beneficial for me. And it's shocking how people react to that. People are like,
they're uncomfortable.
What do you mean? No. I'm also just saying how I feel. I'm like, hey, I don't think this like friendship is serving me right now. Or like, I'm just being like super honest, and it feels very liberating. But I also kind of feel like it's a carriage that will turn into a pumpkin. And then like come June, everyone's gonna be like, Michelle is an ass.
They also, but here's the thing, people will stop asking you to do things if you do that. Right. And that can be a good thing. It can be a good thing or a bad thing. Like, if it's a friend thing and people are like, all right, we're going to stop asking Michelle to come around because she keeps telling us no. But
no, my friend,
I don't know. I think it's in the long run, it's going to draw like a pretty harsh line. So people are going to not ask you things unless they really need it, or like unless they really need something from you. So I'm all about this. Some people are uncomfortable with just like being like harshly honest. But I've always said this. Would you rather someone, like, for example, use the term like, let's circle back, right? That's basically like code for, I don't really care about whatever this is. Like, we're basically putting this on the back burner, and if I forget about it, I forget about it, right? If someone's like, hey, Michelle, do you want to hang out? And you're like, yeah, I'm just like really busy this week. Like, let's circle back. But you never actually have any interest in or intention to hang out with them. Or if they just straight up said to you, or if you just said to them, no, like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to hang out. I'd rather the person tell me no, because then I at least know where I stand. I'm not wasting my time. So, but not everybody can handle that. So you're right. People will resent you. But I think for your own health, and honestly, for everyone else's, lack of wasting time, it's probably the most productive thing you could do.
100%. Like, do we need to set up a 15-minute call to preface a meeting that we're going to have? No.
The pre-meeting, the meeting for the meeting. Yes.
I don't need it. Like, I'm going to say no. I will speak to you at the meeting, right? But I listened to this podcast, Steve, that Oprah did, who obviously is like my queen. Love some Oprah over here. And she was talking about boundaries and about setting boundaries, and how as you advance in your career, you really have to set boundaries, because as soon as you say yes, you're inviting people to ask you for more. She's like, it's never going to be one yes. There's multiple yeses. So like the example that she gave was, if someone asks you to host an event and you say yes, then they're going to ask you to cut a commercial. Then they're going to ask you to sit on the board. Then they're going to ask you to donate money. And obviously that's like very hyper specific to Oprah, but if you say, I will
and
do
you
this,
don't sell yourself short. Come on, you're hosting events and doing things.
Well,
you're doing commercials.
But like, a little bit, which is amazing opportunity.
What's up?
But that was just her
I know what
saying that like people will take advantage of your generosity unless you set boundaries. And so she was like, I will say things like, I will host the event and only the event. And I will do it this year.
She's drawing lines.
She draws lines with things. Yes. And like people need to respect that. And I was thinking about, so many women I know are people pleasers, right? We don't like people to be upset with us. We don't like conflict. We don't like uncomfortable situations. And I just have, this is going to sound so morbid, Steve, but I just have been like, we are all going to die. I do not know how much time I have left on this earth. Like the clock is ticking. I'm not going to the pre-meeting. I'm not doing the 15-minute pre-meeting before the meeting. Like, I'm just going to say, I kind of think that this is a waste of time. Unless it's imperative, can we just speak later? And it's been very liberating. And it's, again, taking people aback a little bit. But that's my goal for 2022, is just to like, be more authentic and like set boundaries.
Yeah. And I think that doesn't make you like a mean person. I mean, people might think like, oh, Michelle, like she's hard to deal with. She says no all the time. But I don't know, like at some point you gotta sort of just put your own priorities first, right? And I think one of the things that's interesting about like in me like working from home for as long as I have now is you do like kind of prioritize, like you can work a lot more, but I think it's nice to be like, all right, this meeting's over, like everybody's in a Zoom, there's nothing else to say, like let's just get out of the Zoom, instead of like the typical 8-hour workday where like I remember times where I was like trying to stay busy, right? There'd be times I'd be really busy and then other days where I wouldn't be busy. And now like you can kind of balance that a little bit more. And because you're not around people constantly, you don't kind of, constantly have to feel on. And it's easier for me to be like, no, or duck out of a meeting if it's like a Zoom thing. So I totally feel you. I totally feel you on that. I think it's smart. And I think I don't know. I fully endorse it. I just think now is this more of a friendship thing? Is it more of a work thing? Like which, or is it both?
It's just with everything. Like to your point about there are people that come into your life for seasons, right? And you don't dislike them, but like you know that you're never like you were close at one point and you're never going to go get the coffee, right? Like I've just kind of decided that I want to keep my circle tight, like quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And I just am going to stop.
Friends.
I'm just going to like stop pretending. Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Like, it's hard to give a concrete example because it hasn't really happened yet. But like, if someone that I know I'm never going to be close with or whatever, it's like, we should grab coffee. I'm going to be like, really? I mean, maybe I won't.
But I think here's the thing.
I say that out loud, and then I'll probably be like, "Sure, let's go."
I know, but here's the thing. You can say what you should do is say, "Hey, let's circle back in like a couple weeks," and then you never circle back. That's how you get away with it because nobody ever follows up on that. You know, like I feel like there's always those like whenever you run into somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. Like, there's a reason you haven't seen them in a long time because you guys don't put any effort in to see each other. So, like, it's okay.
Exactly.
You both play the same. That's like when someone's like, oh, this person hasn't texted me. It's like, well, you haven't texted me either. So, like, it's like a two-way street here. What do you want me to do? And, like, one of the funniest things that I've always talked about with Adnan Verk is he brought this up one time. He's like, the one thing I like about texting you, Ceruti, is that like I know when the conversation's over. Like there's never any like you will just Irish exit the conversation when it's done. Like I don't feel like I have to like small talk or no pun intended.
Correct.
But like we don't have to like beat around the bush. Like he'll text me something, I'll respond to it, and then we kind of know when the conversation's over, and we don't have to like play this charade or game of like, how's your life? What's going on? You know what I mean? And like sometimes, because it is a waste of time. There's a reason that people don't ask that. If I wanted to ask that, I would have asked you that already. So I love it. I think it's smart. But again, you can kind of get around that by just pushing things down the road. And there's like a 99% chance that, especially like in the friendship zone, if you see somebody that you saw from high school, right, that you don't keep in touch with, and you're like, oh yeah, let's grab drinks one time. That'd be awesome. Like, sure, that'd be awesome. And then you just never do. So it's kind of no harm, no foul.
Yeah, that was a bad example because that hasn't happened. But like, for instance, I get really tired on Fridays because I get up early for work. And like on a Friday night,
you're spent by the end of the week. Yeah.
I'm so tired. I hibernate on a Friday night and sleep in on a Saturday. And I got asked to do something on a Friday with a group of friends and acquaintances. And normally I would have gone and been exhausted and been miserable. And, I feel like post-pandemic, it takes so much energy to socialize now. Like even with your close friends, you're just like, God, we weren't used to this for so long. It's kind of hard to like get up the energy to sustain like 3 hours of small talk. Right. And so I was just like, no, I'm really tired. Like, I'm just not going to go. I'm really tired. Yeah. And you know what? Everyone was so cool about it. They're like, totally understand. And I'm like, for so many years, I had it in my brain. Like, I don't want to disappoint people. I already committed. Like, they'll think I'm lame if I bail. And everyone's like, whatever. No, like everything in your mind, you built, like we all.
You try to think of an excuse. You try to think of like, oh, what's the thing I could think of that to like not make it sound like I just don't want to do it. But again, just be like, nah, actually, I'm tired. I'm gonna stay home tonight. Like,
well, it's like Alexa said in Schitt's Creek when what's the guy's name? David was like going to get his driver's license, and he was like, oh my God, the instructor is gonna like think I'm terrible, and she's like, no one thinks about you the way that you think that they do.
Correct.
No one thinks about you as much as people as you think they do. And that is so true. Like we are like, well, we don't want to disappoint or like whatever. People don't care. They're like, I got my own shit going on. You know what I mean? And so that's why I am like, I just admire people that do what they want to do. And I want to try to be more like that. So that's me in 2022.
New year, new Shelly. I love it. And by the way, go ahead.
I was just going to say New Year, same Steve, because we have something like very traditionally us and you on deck.
Yeah. I feel like I've kind of been like that, although I'm more gung-ho on hanging out now because I don't get out as much. And now I'm like, yeah, let's go out. This is awesome. Like, whereas like before when I was like going to work, I'd be like Friday, I'm like you. Like I want to be horizontal watching Netflix. Although, do you feel like I would love like, how like on your phone, it'll tell you like, hey, if you have an iPhone, you this much 7 hours of screen time this week or something like that, right? I wish there has to be an app for this, but like I would love to know. Actually, I probably wouldn't love to know because it would scare the shit out of me. But like, how much time I spent horizontal. You know, like it would be.
That's scary.
I think that would be a very terrifying realization to be like, man, because there are a lot of times where I'm just like laying down and I'm doing work, right? And or you know, I spend more time obviously on the couch than I normally would because I have more time, I guess, downtime, not commuting and stuff like that. That would be a scary proposition, but I would love to know what the number is, and then probably I would, you know, be in my head about it. But I would love to know what that number is.
I think you can do that on the Apple Watch, right? Like if you're not standing up, I don't have one, but I think it vibrates.
That's
and it's like stand
that's a good
up.
deep tease actually, because I have something later. Actually, I think you want to do this now. You want to do?
Yeah, let's do it now. Okay,
this is a great tease.
We had been asked for this. I forget. I think someone sent us an email to smalltalkpod.com. Check it out, and John's amazing Shell Talk blog. But I think someone said, I need more things that Steve hates. I just need like a list of things that Ceruti hates. Yeah. So here we are talking about how I'm more emboldened in 2022 to speak my truth. Steve is staying the same in 2022. So you have 3 things that you hate. The list of 3 things that annoy Steve, right? Or something to that.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to do this. You know, it's hard because like I think.
Is it?
It is because like there are a lot of things, but if you're like, hey, think of something in the moment, like I don't know, like it's hard to just think of something in the moment, but so I gotta start writing this shit down. So I kind of have started writing it down, and it's a great segue from what we were talking about the Apple Watch, because have you seen these new Apple Watch commercials that have been running?
Yeah, it's like if you essentially don't have an Apple Watch, you could like get lost or die.
Like, can we calm down? Like I'm just trying to enjoy my show. I'm trying to enjoy an NFL or an NBA game or a soccer game, and all of a sudden this commercial about some guy who hit his head in the woods and he's only alive because he had an Apple Watch, and it's like, yeah, you're right. Like I saw the meme that was like, this commercial is basically get an Apple Watch or die, and you're just like, can we relax?
Yeah,
for like,
can we chill?
I just don't need that energy, and I hate when people say that, but like, I don't need that energy when I'm just trying to like sit on the couch and watch Netflix or what. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be Netflix because there's commercials, but when I'm watching like Packers Niners this weekend, like, oh man, fourth quarter, big third down coming up, and I get an Apple Watch commercial basically telling me that like if I don't have one of their products, I'm going to die. So that's number one. That really has annoyed me because it just throws my vibe off totally. It just totally messes me up.
That's a really good one.
I don't know if you feel the same way.
Well, I was going to say, I always love to think about the creative process. And I just love that. Think about how many layers that had to go through, how many people probably got paid to come up with the Apple content. And then a collective group of very creative and smart people were like, what if we threatened death?
Yeah. Sales
through the roof.
And there aren't many things you can threaten death with, but I guess that is one of them. And listen, it's actually brilliant. It is a brilliant marketing ad because we're talking about it, and it is like jaw dropping, right? It kind of like makes you stop and think and go, shit, do I actually need an Apple Watch? I don't have one. My wife Maddie has one, and she has it like kind of for that reason because she goes on a lot of calls in real estate or whatever, and just to have like an SOS button or whatever. But it's a very good marketing campaign. I'm annoyed by it. That's what I have to say.
Okay, so are we doing this in reverse order? Like, is that number 3?
No, these are in no particular order. But I'll leave the one I want to ask you about for last so we can talk about it.
Okay.
The next one is, this is something that's been happening to me recently, and I don't understand it. So maybe you can explain it to me. Why do people leave voicemails when I know you? Like, I'll see your missed call. I don't need a voicemail that's, I mean, if it's longer than 10 seconds, that's absolutely fucking insane. Like, I know you could, hey, it's so-and-so, just calling, here's my number, 555, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, give me a call when you get a chance. There is no point in leaving me a voicemail. One, I see your missed call. I will call you back when I have a chance. And 2, if it's really urgent, text me what it's about. I don't need a voicemail. And I'm kind of talking about my mom here a little bit, and my mom listens, so God bless her, she's the best. But like, there are other people in my life that like, they'll leave a voicemail, and I'm like, what is the point of you wasting 30 seconds of your life leaving a voicemail? Am I wrong? We're going to do Am I the Asshole later. Am I the asshole for thinking that?
I think so, because I'm like a serial voicemailer.
What do you talk about
Michelle,
in the voicemail?
I love a voicemail. So the biggest thing, like Apple, can you stop making death-threatening commercials about the watch and give us FaceTime voicemails? That's all I want. I want 2 things in life.
I don't want that at all.
Steve, I want 2 things in life.
Isn't that Snapchat, basically?
No. I want Tostitos with a hint of lime scoops. That's all I want. Like, give me the hint of lime chip, but in scoop form. That's all I'm asking for. I tweet them every year at the Super Bowl. This year they came out with football-shaped hint of lime chips which is like a step in the right direction, but just give us what we need. Okay. Tostitos, if you're listening, I am adding you verbally. Anyway.
Really
and
quick.
Number two,
best Tostitos are the rolls, the roll up ones.
No, hint of lime all the way.
Move on to the conversation. I just want to throw that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for that contribution.
Now that I've
incredibly
the
wrong,
conversation.
but thank you for the contribution.
Trust me, they're the saltiest ones. They're so good. Anyway, we're good. We've digressed.
Number two, I need to be able to leave a FaceTime voicemail because, like, for instance, last night I'm out to cocktails with two of my girlfriends from high school, and we were talking about our guy friend from high school, and we had a couple glasses of wine. I was like, let's FaceTime him. And so we FaceTimed him, and he didn't pick up. And I needed to be able to be like, look, we're all together. Shout out to us and you. Like, love you. I miss you. Bye. And instead he texted me, what's up?
Okay.
Because he is you. He's like, why are you bothering me? Like, don't. But I wish I could leave a FaceTime. Shout out to Austin. We love you, Austin. But I need to leave a FaceTime voicemail. And maybe it's because I'm a child of the 90s. I'm always going to be like, hey, Steve, it's Michelle. Just checking in. Hope you're doing great. TTYL. Never. Call me later.
Nope.
Like, I leave a
Text
voicemail.
me.
I do. I love leaving a voicemail.
Your idea about FaceTime voicemails is actually really smart. They should have it. I hate it. I would never do it, but it would be great. The only thing I think of is, we've gotten a drunk text, we've gotten a drunk voicemail before. Could you imagine getting a drunk FaceTime message? I mean, that would be
the whole point.
Embarrassing. But you would have people embarrassing the hell out of themselves.
That's why I want it, because I love FaceTiming. I'm much more a FaceTimer than a texter or a caller. It just feels more personal to me to see your face. And like Maddie and I, your wife, we FaceTime all the time. Like, love FaceTime. I actually FaceTimed with you and Maddie on New Year's Eve.
There you go. We had an exhilarating night of watching Harry Potter and playing Scrabble.
And you actually inspired me. I'm now rewatching Harry Potter, by the way, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Nice.
But anyway, that's the whole point, though, is that I want to be able, because I put on my do not disturb notifications a lot so that I can sleep, because I have terrible sleep patterns. I want to wake up and have no idea that my drunk friends were and having cocktails in New York, and that they're like screaming something that I can't understand at me, but I'm like, oh, look at them having so much fun. You know what I mean? Like, I want that moment. I want to wake up in the morning and be like, I missed a good time last night. Actually, maybe that would change my stance on saying no to going out, because I was like, look at all the fun they're having. Here's evidence.
Yeah, big time FOMO. You're 100% right, but it's just going to lead to a lot of embarrassing moments on camera, and that's I will not be partaking in that.
I want them.
Okay, here's my last one.
Okay, go.
Do you play Wordle?
No, Steve. Okay, so this is how I know I'm getting old. Is I feel like anything that is getting like obsessively popular, I zag. Like, I refuse to get on TikTok, as we know. I also am like,
wow, you're like, old man, get off my lawn right now. Wow.
I am Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn. I am just like happy that you guys are all enjoying Wordle. Don't understand what your scores mean. Couldn't care less. I am not getting on Wordle because everyone else cares about Wordle. And you know what's going to happen, Steve? Give it 5 months and no one's going to talk about Wordle anymore. And then I'll be glad that I didn't waste my time.
So I love Wordle.
You do?
Do you know what it is?
Well, okay. It's like a game. It's like a game, right?
It's a word game. And I was just telling you, like, I played Scrabble with Maddie on New Year's Eve. Like, I like games like that, especially word games, right? Although I didn't really get into words with friends, but I like things like that. So Wordle is basically, you have 6 guesses to guess any random 5-letter word. Anyone. Everyone gets the same one word every single day. So like, you and I were to play it today, we get the same word. Everyone every day gets the same word. So it's, it's like a competitive thing, whatever. And so if you like, say I usually guess like tease is a word I like to guess a lot because it has a couple of vowels, T and S, which are 2 common words. So you guess that, right? And it'll tell you if you got one of the letters is in the word and if it's in the right spot. So basically, you use clues to guess what the word is over the course of 6 guesses, and it keeps score. The best I've ever done is I've got it in 2 guesses before. I've guessed it every single time. Some people don't get it in the 6 times, which is actually kind of difficult, I feel like. But it's a fun game. It's stupid. It takes like 5-10 minutes a day. It's like a mental break from your day that you can take, and it's great. So I highly endorse anyone. You should play it. Just Google Wordle and you'll find it. But
is it an app?
It's not an app. It's a website. There might be an app. I think people have tried, but the original one is a website. So just Google Wordle and you'll find it. There's actually, it's actually funny. They came out with with something called Lewdle, Lewdle. So it's like it's Wordle for like naughty words essentially. So like boobs would be like one of them. Like it's stupid. So that of course we've gotten to that. But this I've said all this to say that you don't like it, right? Because you've seen people post about it on social media, right?
Yeah, right.
And I also hate that. I hate it.
Oh, even though you're a Wordle player.
I love playing the game. I talk about it with my friends. Like we'll have a group chat and we'll like share our scores. But sharing it on like Twitter, Facebook, and even Instagram to me is a look at me, come see how smart I am, or come see how not smart I am. Some people like will post when they don't get it. I'm like, that's embarrassing. You shouldn't be advertising that. It's like they're not difficult words, Michelle. It's like spell or, loved or any like simple 5-letter word. So if you don't get it, that's kind of a you problem. But I hate the fact, like the reason it gets a bad rap is because so many people keep posting these blocks and nobody knows what they mean. Right. And they're also not helpful to anyone else. Like I guess it theoretically can kind of help you if you're like really studying what they are. But if you're doing that, you're doing too much, as the kids say. So I love the game, but I hate that people share what their scores are because it's just such a look at me kind of thing.
So I do the New York Times mini crossword puzzle every day, and I try to get it in a minute or less. And I thought to myself, I was like, should I just post my New York Times mini crossword time and be like, got it today in 56 seconds? Because literally no one cares. And that's how I feel about Wordle.
It's like your fantasy football team. Like only you care about it. Nobody else cares about what your Wordle score is. I'm sorry. Like, and I shouldn't say that because like, again, like my friends, but what we do it, like the 4 of us, it's competitive, right? We like to kind of keep score that way. Mm-hmm. But like, if you're tweeting it out to the masses, like you're just doing this so people could be like, oh, I got it in 2 or 3. Look at how smart I am. I don't get it at all. I get like, that's why it's kind of caught on because it has that. It's smart by Wordle to do that, to like, lean into people's insecurities about how smart they want to perceive themselves to other people. But it gives it a bad rap and it bums me out. And like people who tweet their Wordle score every day, come on, man, just play the game, enjoy it. It just gets back to the fact that, Michelle, we cannot do anything today without telling someone else that we did something. You can't just enjoy it personally and have it be your thing. It has to be like, oh, look at how awesome I am. Look at what I did. It's annoying.
Well, you know what it is? It's like, it's FOMO. It's like everyone's talking about Wordle. I better be posting my Wordle. It's like the Coachella of games. Like you have to be there because everybody else is going to be there.
Yeah, did you play Wordle if you didn't post Wordle?
Wait,
I don't know.
Speaking of Coachella, can we talk about the
oh my God,
the most amazing lineup for 2000s emo kids?
It's an excellent transition. It's called When We Were Young.
We Were Young. Thank you. This music festival. Steve, I'm just going to give the ball to you and go because this is more your scene than mine.
It is, but really quickly, is that a play on, there has to be a play on why am I blanking on the name? The Killers. There has to be a play on the Killers song, right?
Maybe, but they're not performing the Killers.
Because when I typed in when we were young, like something from Adele came up and I was like, is that a song of hers?
It is.
Should I know that?
Also the Killers, but I thought it was just kind of a nod to like, this was our youth, this is like people our age who were like, oh man, Paramore, we gotta go.
All right, well, hold on. Okay, yeah. So for those that don't know, but this has been everywhere. There was like a poster that got dropped of a new music festival in Las Vegas, I believe in October. And it is like a who's who of emo music of like when we were growing up. So yeah, when we were young, essentially. It is calling out to people like Michelle and I. And I'm interested to know like how big your emo phase was. I can't imagine it was super emo. But like I wasn't even like an emo kid, but I liked a lot of these bands. So let me just read some of these to you and you tell me yes or no.
Okay, go ahead.
My Chemical Romance.
Do they do Dance Dance?
No.
Okay, admittedly.
Not a good start.
Steve, this may be shocking to you, but growing up, I fit into like one of 3 buckets.
Could I guess?
Pop princesses.
Jocks, like the sports thing?
Oh, no. I mean like musically. So
okay.
We went pop princesses. We went hardcore rap. Like, you know what I mean? Give me like Outkast. I mean, yeah, Mike Jones, Outkast. Like, I was listening. Like, I was very big into Big Timers. Like, okay,
who wasn't? Manny Fresh. Shout out to Marv. I know our guy Marv loves Manny Fresh.
Shout out to Marv.
Yep.
I loved when Manny Fresh came to ESPN. That was one of my favorite days. I was like, oh my God, he used my headphones.
One of the most underrated people in music history. Manny
Birdman
Fresh,
also once used my headphones. I took a photo of it and was like, I'm never getting rid of these headphones. Birdman wore them. And then this is so random, but like dad tunes, like Steely Dan and like Ambrosia and like Yes, you know, like my parents.
Yes. Yes is such an underrated. What's the they sing? What the hell is that one song? Anyway, it doesn't
they
matter.
have amazing hits. But like, you know, what your parents are going to listen to while they're barbecuing a steak on the back deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I liked Paramore, some of these songs and bands I know and like, but I wasn't like dyeing my hair and like,
well, neither was I. I wasn't dyeing my hair, but I still like, I know, like, so for example, just to go back to what we said, My Chemical Romance, that you are thinking of Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy. That's what
and they, I don't believe are on this, on this list, but My Chemical Romance.
Give me one of their songs.
Welcome to the Black Parade. Remember that song? It was like you know this song. You know this song.
I'm gonna play it. My Chemical Romance.
They have. I mean, Helena is like a song that Maddie and I are obsessed with. Well, the intro is also like 9 minutes long, so you have to fast forward. It is such an emo song.
I've never heard this in my life.
Just slide it forward because the intro is so long. It's not playing. Do I hear it?
I've never heard that song in my life.
You've heard this. I'm telling you.
No, I promise you I haven't. I've never heard it.
So they're great. They're like black eyeliner. I think they were like white and black striped suits for some weird reason. I don't know. They were super emo. Great band. Paramore, as you mentioned. I actually wasn't a huge Paramore fan like when in the moment, like when they were actually big. But I've hit a big revival of Paramore because of Peloton. A lot of great Paramore songs on the Peloton.
Misery Business still slaps.
It does. What is it? Crush, Crush, Crush. Obviously, great
Ain't
song.
Ain't It Fun? They've got a lot of jams.
All right, I'm going to keep going. Dashboard Confessional.
Okay, so like, yes, I know them. Give me a song. Do I know?
What do you mean, give me a song?
Well, see, like half of these bands, I'm like, is that Dashboard Confessional or is that like Panic at the Disco? Like, I don't really
Dashboard and Panic at Disco are two completely different vibes. I mean, Panic at the Disco is like upbeat emo. Dashboard is like depressed lover music. It's great. By the way, chalk one up to Connecticut. Lead singer of Dashboard is from Simsbury, Connecticut. No big deal.
Shout out.
No, Dashboard is like hands down Vindicated, the song from the Spider-Man soundtrack with, you know, Tobey Maguire all those years ago. What is the other song? Your Hair is Everywhere. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, they have a lot of great songs. Maddie and I were actually supposed to see Dashboard last year, but it got canceled because of COVID. Super, super, super sad scene there. All right, we'll move on. Taking Back Sunday, right? You know Taking Back Sunday.
I've heard of them, but I don't know any of their songs.
All right, they're not as popular, but okay, I'll give it to you. The Used. Thoughts on The Used? You ever heard of them?
I've heard of them, but don't know them.
All American Rejects. Now they're a little more poppy. You definitely know them.
Oh, I hope I Give You Hell, right?
Gives You Hell.
Great song.
Swing Swing, which is actually a fucking great song.
I know those guys.
That's a great song. Okay. Yeah. What else? Avril Lavigne is on this playlist. On this for this music festival. Not the biggest Avril fan, but I respect her.
I got down with some Skater Boy back in the day.
It's a great song. It's one of those like that's going to be stuck in your head for like 3 days if you hear it, which is probably why I don't love it. But you can't knock the hustle. It's a great song. Bright Eyes is another. That's like a big time emo band. Jimmy Eat World, you know Jimmy Eat World.
The Middle, right?
Yup, it just
good song.
Yep, for sure.
Good song.
So there's like a bunch of other bands. I encourage everyone to go look at this. But so you are way less into the emo scene than I thought. I mean, I knew you weren't like an emo kid. But I wasn't an emo kid growing up either, but I still listened to the music. So I'm surprised that you don't know like any of these bands.
No, like if you were like, hey, it's going to be Genuine and Usher and like, I mean, what are some, like that's when young Michelle would be like, oh my God, Confessions Part 2.
Well, in your defense, that is great.
I know, Burn, like Usher, you got to be kidding me.
So you will not be going with me in October to Las Vegas for this concert.
I mean, I'll go. I'll totally go. I can listen beforehand and get up to speed. I think it's a great idea though, because it taps and it's such a niche of people of a certain age and a certain genre. And I just love seeing so many of my friends that were very into the emo scene in the 2000s get so hyped
lose
about
their minds.
This.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a festival or a show for you, for like this one specific type of person, which I think is very cool.
Yeah. And they're just like playing, you're right. They're playing on our nostalgia, but also, you know, if we've it makes me a little worried though. Like, who's running this? Like, I saw a few people be like, "Oh, is Ja Rule in charge of this?" Which obviously is the Fire Fest joke. You know, I don't know. It's in Vegas. Like, I want to go, but I don't know. I feel like I've got to go with a group of people who are also as into it as I am. So I guess we'll cross you off that list, Michelle. You're not ready. Sorry. You're not ready.
You know what? I'll go to Vegas with you, and you go to the show, and I'll go see like Adele if she's there.
You'll go see Celine or whoever.
I've seen
and
Celine.
Britney's not there anymore, right?
No, Britney's living her free life. Actually,
Speaking of
her sister, poor Britney.
Yeah, did you watch that?
She is. I did watch what?
The Jamie Lynn thing. I saw the previews, but I didn't watch it.
Where was she?
She apparently did like a sit down with somebody, ABC, which I'm like, why is ABC doing a sit down with Jamie Lynn Spears?
I refuse to give Jamie Lynn Spears 1 ounce of my energy.
Is she like an energy? Is she like a
she's profiting off her sister and like spinning all of these crazy lies about
are they not close?
No, Britney has cut her off. Britney has sent her a cease and desist because Jamie Lynn wrote a book about Britney and the conservatorship and her mental health. And is like apparently saying all of this stuff that's not true. People are like, you had a huge role in the conservatorship.
With her dad's thing.
Yeah, like you profited off Britney being essentially locked up. And now you're going to write a book with falsehoods in it and do a sickening promo tour. And so
I don't like
that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Cease and desist. Yeah, Britney's like, get out of my life. And so I refuse to give Jamie Lynn 1 click. I will not watch anything. I refuse to give her any of my energy.
Well, that's pretty much how I felt when
Team Britney,
when Meghan Markle and Harry did their thing with Oprah. So I guess
I understand.
I understand your lack of enthusiasm for that. So all right, so we'll move on. Let's do the Am I the Asshole thing, but we put a bow on the concert. I guess I'll have to find somebody else to go with.
But if you go, I want a full pod breakdown.
Sure, that's fun. I'll do it. A lot of those bands, by the way, I mentioned, like they have found second life in my music playlist because of Peloton. Some of the best Peloton playlists are emo songs.
Can you make an emo playlist and we can tweet it out or share it on Instagram? Because I would like to listen to it, and I think a lot of other people would too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we haven't done this in a while. Well, we also haven't done a podcast period in a while. So
apologies, but we're back.
We're back. So we love the Am I the Asshole Reddit thread. The Twitter account is where I get a lot of this as well. So Steve and I like to go through these. Sometimes we send them to one another to determine who is the asshole. So we have, I think, 4 of them today. So let's run through a few. Okay. Some of these are long, so you have to like stick with me. All right. This one. Hold on. I sent them to you in incorrect order. I sent you 5 photos.
Yeah, I was like kind of confused by that, but I read it. That's fine.
Okay.
We do our prep here. Don't worry.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, we do. We prep. Here's the first one. Am I the asshole for demanding the same Christmas present my stepbrother got? I sound like a real asshole, but I've completely lost my mind over this. I'm 17. My stepbrother is 17. We both have our driver's license. I just found out 5 days ago that my dad and stepmom bought a used car for my stepbrother. They got me a $600 gift card to Best Buy. I know $600 is a lot of money, but what the fuck? Am I crazy or is this super unfair? It's literally the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm actually so pissed off that I moved to my mom's house full time. My dad seems to be genuinely sorry and told me he's looking for a car now, but it's going to take a while. I messaged him back saying that I'll decide if I want to see him after he decides to be fair for once.
Whoa.
I've ignored all other calls and messages from him since. My stepbrother messaged me saying that I need to chill and that he's going to let me use his car. He also said that I need to stop bitching and ruining everyone's Christmas. I told
Grace,
him
you ruined Christmas again.
I told him to get in a Civic and fuck off. Am I the asshole?
Okay, this is a great one. What I feel like I need to know what kind of car. So you got a $600 gift card to Best Buy. Is the car?
A Civic. He said a Civic. A used
but like
Civic.
What year? I mean, Civics last, like Hondas last for like decades. So it could be like a 1985 Civic. So was the car that your stepbrother got of equal or more value than your $600 Best Buy gift card? If say the car was worth like $1,000 or a couple grand, or maybe it's like a decently new Civic, then yeah, you should be fucking furious. Because what are you gonna do with a Best Buy gift card? I mean, you can give it to me, I'll buy an Xbox, but I don't know what the hell you're gonna do at Best Buy with that's the equivalent of getting a car now. Right. There's got to be something, like, unless like you are just a shitty child, and which this very well may be possible. Like maybe they just don't like you, because clearly, like, if you were like, this is obviously a shitty thing to do, to like give your stepbrother a car, not you. But maybe they did that because they don't like you as a kid as much as they like the stepkid, and he's nicer. So he got a car and you got the shitty gift card. So I would say I need a little bit more information. You're not an asshole for in the vacuum for being mad about this, but it sounds like there are some other factors involved here.
Yeah. The first thing I thought was, does your stepbrother have a job or something where he needs a vehicle more than you do? Or like, does your mom drive you around because you're 17 and his mom has to work or something? Like, I didn't know if there were some background circumstances that required the stepbrother to be in more need of the vehicle. But I have to say, Steve, I would just kind of assume that this would be kind of like a, you get 5 marshmallows, you get 5 marshmallows situation. If they're the same exact age, I would kind of expect my dad to give me a heads up and say, I know that you want a car, but like Reggie really needs one. And we're going to get him the car because of his job or circumstance. We're still going to hook you up $600 to Best Buy. And like, if you want a car or something, I can give you money for. Like, I would just expect there to be more of a conversation from my parent.
Here's the thing. They could have bought a car. I mean, it's not a nice car, but they could have bought a car for $600, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's something else at play here, Michelle. I feel like they're either like taking some sort of like your previous behavior out on you, or I don't know. Like, you're right. I think you saying that like maybe he had a need for the car more than she did. It makes sense. But again, if she really wanted a car, they could have bought her a car for $600. I don't know. I need more information to really make a full judgment on this. If just judging by everything that she said, she is not an asshole for thinking she should get the same gift, because that is unfair. Like, imagine if, like, you know, there's 2 brothers and one of you got an Xbox and the other one didn't. Like, that'd be a bummer. Like, if you bought me, you know, I would be angry with that. But there has to be something else we're missing.
I also do not think that the person is the asshole, because I think it's really funny to say to the stepbrother, get in your Civic and F off. Like, that's actually a pretty amazing line. And so you're not an asshole in my mind if you're funny.
That is true.
Okay,
right,
let's go to the next one. This is my personal favorite. Am I the asshole for thinking of leaving my boyfriend because of Danny DeVito?
Okay.
Okay. My 31. Okay, so this writer is 31 and a female. The boyfriend is 33 and a male. So full ass adult. Okay. My boyfriend really likes Danny DeVito. We have been together now for 6 years and he's always liked him. Even when we first got together, he had a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito. He got a few years before we were even together. It's never bothered me until he started working at home because of COVID. And it didn't even bother me, really. It bothered one of his colleagues. He has a well-paid job. He's thought very highly of his workplace, and he's been told by his boss when he retires next year that he's going to be recommending my boyfriend for the job. He's been there 12 years. This will be a huge advancement for him, and he really deserves it. Now for the strange part. Due to him working at home, he's been doing a lot of video calls and Zooms, and his boss's boss really does not like the Danny DeVito cardboard cutout. He asked him to remove it during a meeting, and he did, and the meeting carried on. The week after that, in another meeting, the cardboard cutout was back in its usual spot. After the meeting, the boss asked my husband to hang on and blew up at him over the cardboard cutout being back. He snapped back that he's unable to tell him how to decorate his house, and unless he formally puts it in writing, he won't be removing it. I tried to speak with him calmly that maybe he could just move it, but he won't have any of it. He even went as far as to buy an oil painting of Danny DeVito and hang it right behind himself, and got a couple more cardboard cutouts. The boss has pretty much had it at this point and says he can't fire him, but his career is dead. So he's decided to find a new job without consulting me. He's going to be ready to leave his job in January after serving his notice. I tried again to speak calmly with him. He blew me off and said he isn't staying at a company who values the decoration of his room over the quality of his work. At this point, I absolutely blew up at him and called him out for how childish he's actually being. I'm honestly not sure who he is anymore because of this, and I'm genuinely thinking of leaving him. We haven't spoken in a couple days, and honestly, an argument that we have had has never lasted this long. I might be an asshole because maybe I should have taken his side, but am I the asshole?
You want to take a stab at this one first?
So...
Is this really real? Is my first. Yeah. Like, is this even real?
Like, who has a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito? Like, Danny DeVito, love your work. Who loves Danny DeVito and have to have a cardboard cutout? It's not like Michael Jordan, okay? Like, we don't need Air Jordan up in here. But part of me understands the boyfriend's point, because we're stuck at home. You're not supposed to be invited into my home space.
Yeah,
It's
kindly
supposed
fuck
to,
off about
yeah,
what
it's
is in my
supposed to be
room.
separate from work, right? Like because
It's not like it's like nudity or something obscene. It's just it's Danny DeVito. Like it's like I have the Lionel Messi FIFA thing in the background. Yeah, is it like the most professional thing in the world? No, but like let me live my life.
Right. And like because of a global pandemic and unforeseen circumstances, I was forced to invite you into my home. And I just don't think that we should be like room raider to our coworkers, you know?
Great reference. Yep.
Right. But also, I kind of feel like if you've been at a company for 12 years, you're about to become the boss and get a massive promotion, just scoot the Danny DeVito over. You know, like put Danny in your bedroom. I mean, that might be kind of weird having Danny like there when you wake up or like hang out, but or, like put Danny DeVito in the kitchen. Like how funny is that if you go to get a jug of like pull out the jug of milk to make a bowl of cereal and like there's Danny DeVito. So I kind of see the woman's point here because they're together and his advancement in his career impacts them both financially, and it seems really silly to give up a promotion because of a Danny DeVito cardboard cutout. But I also see his side where it's like, who are you to judge my decorating? Like,
but you know what? Everything you said is correct. He should not the decor of his living environment should not be dictated by work, as long as it's like within reason. But he's dying on the hill that is Danny DeVito. Like, and I'm sorry, there really is no celebrity who's cut out that I'm going to have in my house that I would lose my career over or a promotion over or potentially my relationship over. Okay. I'm sorry. And you and I, I'm a big Jake Gyllenhaal guy, right? I love Gyllenhaal. Sorry to the Taylor Swifties out there. We all know this is true. I love Gyllenhaal. If I had a Gyllenhaal poster, well, first off, let me ask you this. Is it because it's Danny DeVito and he's like a weird looking guy? Is that part of it? Like if this guy had a Gyllenhaal poster in the background, would the boss be as mad? I think probably not, but it would still be kind of weird.
Well, I can understand the boss saying it's distracting. Like I'm trying to talk to you and I can't stop staring at Danny DeVito. Like this is supposed to be a working environment and there's like Danny DeVito all the time.
Yeah, his personality shouldn't be Danny. It sounds like this guy's personality is like being the Danny DeVito guy, and that's not not a good thing to be. Not a good thing you want to be. Not your lane.
There is no one that I am fanatical enough about as a whole ass adult to have a cardboard cutout in my house. Okay. I'm also not an adult that goes to Disney though. Like people are different. People like different things. So who am I to judge his affinity for Danny DeVito? Amazing body of work, incredible range, hilarious guy. If Danny
It's
DeVito,
Always Sunny, Twins.
Jam,
he was the Penguin in a couple of those Batman movies. He's been everywhere.
I mean,
Straight actor.
are we gonna ignore Matilda? Incredible.
Oh, I forgot he was in Matilda. Yeah, Matilda. Great call.
Matilda. I mean,
seen it in a while.
Like shout out to Danny DeVito, but I don't think I'm going to lose my job over a cardboard cutout. Even though the principle, I do understand.
And ultimately, this is why she is not the asshole, because, as you mentioned at the very beginning, he is a grown ass adult, and unless he's going to find if he quits his job and he is able to find an equal or better job to his, then more power to him. Maybe he knows what he's talking about and it's fine. But if he is going to go out to the workplace and try to find a job and it's going to struggle, or he's not going to be able to find as good of a job, or not going to be able to get the promotion that he wanted to get, she's not the asshole. She should hold him accountable and be like, dude, I get it. First off, she lives in the house with him with the Danny DeVito stuff. So clearly she's super fucking cool. And she's like very lenient with your Danny DeVito love fest. Totally. But you can only, that line doesn't go all the way. Like at some point, Danny DeVito cannot be impacting your finances, your future as a couple. And the second that happens, you have to be like, listen, man, like I've been supportive as fuck, but like get rid of the Danny DeVito shit. So unless this guy has it all figured out and he has another job or position lined up and you guys are going to be better off for it, okay. I would highly doubt that is the case. So no, she is not the asshole.
Also, can you imagine if he leaves his job and you have to fill out your resume and apply for a new job? And they're like, well, what happened at your old position? You were there for 12 years. And he's like, they didn't like my Danny DeVito artwork. If I was the hiring person, I'd be like, what? And then imagine the wife having to tell her friends, her family, he left his job because of Danny DeVito. Like just, as we talk it out, you can understand the rationale. On the surface, everyone is going to think you're nuts. They're going to be like, you gave up your career in a big time pay raise because of Danny freaking DeVito.
Yeah. Like, hey guy, what is like, what has Danny DeVito done for you?
Other than bringing
he's
a
made
lot
some
of
great
laughs.
movies, but like
Right.
he's not getting you. He's not paying your bills, man. Like he's not getting you married. He's not putting you in a stable relationship. Like we need to know the boundaries of Danny DeVito. Like that's something that would be funny in a dorm room when you're like 18, but.
Totally.
That's like the guy at some point you grow out of like putting all the IPA bottles on your shelf, as an adult male. You got to grow out of the Danny DeVito.
So.
You got to grow out of the Danny DeVito phase of your life. Come on.
You hope at some point the beer bottles come down because you're just like, who brags about being an alcoholic? I don't know.
Too many people, but.
Yeah. Well, like in college, that's fun. Like, how many beers can I drink?
Yeah, like we'll put the Duber bottles up on there and be like, look at us. We're so hard. We're so cool. Like, we're awesome. We're edgy. No.
But that's the whole point, though, is like when you're young, it's fun to brag about how much you drank. When you're an adult, people are like, Steve, are you an alcoholic?
Yeah, like, hey, man.
Like, that's when the questions come out about your, it takes a completely different shape. It's like, I'm concerned for your well-being.
Yeah, so. Which is all reasonable. And then throw in that it's not alcohol, it's Danny DeVito.
It's Danny DeVito.
What are we doing?
Okay. Yeah, I think that we're on her side here.
Correct.
Okay. Next one. We have two more. Am I the asshole for yelling at my mom that I hate Harry Potter and to let me, in all caps, live my own life? Okay. So as the title suggests, my mom is a huge Harry Potter nut. She and my dad actually met at a Harry Potter conference, or like a online conference, essentially. It's like Discord, but for old people.
Like PotterCon?
Kind of, but it's like digitally.
But, yeah.
It says it's like Discord, but for old people. So I imagine it's like a Harry Potter chat room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
And it says they met in the early 2000s in the Harry Potter IRC and had kids. And from day one decided to embarrass us for life by naming us after some Harry Potter and Star Wars characters.
Oh, no. Okay? What are their names? It doesn't say, does it?
It doesn't say. I tried to find out. It's honestly been hell. I have a stupid name. And since we were little, my parents have forced stuff like Harry Potter, Star Wars, Marvel movies, etc. down our throats. Everything is about dragons and magic and blah, blah, blah. I'm sick of it. Every birthday, every holiday, everything is just organized around fandom. So every Christmas and the days leading up to Christmas, we have to sit down every night and watch Harry Potter movies. It's so fucking boring. I can usually get away with knitting or drawing on my iPad during this stretch. But this year, my mom was like, let's just have a technology and distraction-free night every night. I arranged to go over to my friend Missy's house instead for like 2 nights. Missy's family is normal and likes things a normal amount. My mom got really mad and started talking about how it's a family tradition and how I'm basically rejecting her, and went on the whole thing about how you wouldn't exist if it weren't for Harry Potter. I finally had it and just yelled, nobody cares that you were a big name in the Harry Potter fan club. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like Star Wars. I hate Marvel movies. They're all boring. Please just let me have my own interests. I couldn't help it. I started crying because I was so frustrated about everything. And it always has to be about Harry Potter. And we're all older. And now they started trying to do this again with Game of Thrones. Everything is centered around some kind of movie, TV show, or book series. Just once I want my family to band around something that doesn't have to do with media or nerdy things. We live in Utah where we have like 5 national parks. And even though I ask every year for my birthday, I've never even been to the Arches. My sister called me saying that my mom was angry and to just come home and stop with the theatrics. I told her that I'm sick of having all of this old nerd stuff crammed down my throat. And just once I want to have a normal time watching normal Christmas movies and not having to pause for lightsaber battles. Am I the asshole?
You're not the asshole. So my take would be, that's like you to some extent you have to like just like what your parents like. Like I think, if your parents are into certain kind of music, they're into,
yes,
yeah, like
Steely
even
Dan.
If you don't love it, like for example, it took me a long time, I think, to like appreciate my parents' music, but like they didn't also force that down my throat. There weren't traditions built around it. So like your parents are just taking this to an extreme. I think you have really no options though. Like they're not going to stop liking Harry Potter. Like I think it's actually ridiculous that they would name you. Like I hope her name's not Hermione. I really hope. I hope his name's not like Boba Fett or something. I don't know, from Star Wars. Like
Boba Fett.
That is just absurd, and you shouldn't do that to your kids. Like that's almost like a form of child abuse in some way.
But they think it's sick. They're like, we named you Hermione after one of the greatest characters of all time. Like they think they're doing their kid a solid.
Like it's one thing, like I named my dog Mumford, right? But I would never name like my child Mumford, or like you should never name your daughter Khaleesi. Like
people name their kids Marley after Bob Marley.
Oh, that's different though, because Marley's an actual name. You know?
It's a last name after
like
a
one
singer,
of my like
though.
Mike.
Like it's only a real name because of Bob Marley.
No, Marley's a name, not because
It wasn't
of Bob
a name
Marley.
before Bob Marley.
Oh,
No way.
I mean, I don't know that for certain, but like Michelle, I'd have to think Marley was a name before Bob Marley.
No.
Anyway, like for example, like one of my cousins' name is Dylan because his father, my uncle, is a big Bob Dylan fan. I don't think that's a big deal. Dylan's a normal name. You named him Dylan, but to name someone like if his name was like Harry Potter last name, then that's fucking lame, and that kind of fucks the kid's life up. Like you don't want to name the kid Ron Weasley Ceruti would not be like a cool thing to go through high school with. Okay.
Wait, Ron Weasley Ceruti, I'm crying. That's
like I always joke with Maddie that I was gonna name my kid LeBron. I'm not going to, obviously, but like LeBron James Ceruti would be just like a hilarious name. But you can't actually name your kid LeBron. You know what I mean? Like, so I sympathize with this person. I think she's right. You know, and she's also a kid, so like she's not like fully rational and able to like process this stuff. She just wants to be a kid and like what she likes, and not have stuff forced down her throat. So she's not the asshole. But I don't have a solution for this person. Like, I think you just kind of have to ride it out till you're 18 and move out of the house as soon as you can.
Well, I kind of commend this person for standing up to the parents and being like, this is ridiculous. Like, I want to watch a Christmas movie and I don't want to have a lightsaber battle. And at some point, your parents are going to have to understand that you're maturing and you're becoming into your own person.
They're not going to.
They can't force you to do these things anymore once you become an adult. Like, you're going to have a sit down with your parents and be like, listen, respect your choices in being a Harry Potter fanatic, respect my choices and loving My Chemical Romance or whatever, like bringing it back full circle. Like I'm going to be a believer. You can be a what are they called? Like Potterheads. You can be a Potterhead and I'm going to be a believer. Like just how families have people who have different political views and they can coexist. We can have different views on entertainment and we can coexist naturally. Like I'm going to go to my room and I'm going to watch, whatever. And I'm going to watch It's a Wonderful Life. And then you can watch Harry Potter and The Prisoner of Azkaban. Like that's what's going to happen.
You're 100% correct, and like I like to think, I have some nerdy tendencies. Like I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. A mini trailer drop, not even a trailer, but like a teaser drop for the new Amazon Lord of the Rings show coming out later this year. Pretty excited about that.
Nice.
But I wouldn't force my children to watch it. It's like sports too. Like I actually was recently talking about this. Like I will not be forcing my fandom on any of my children. Any of them. Mostly because all the teams I root for mostly suck. And I don't want my kids to be fucking miserable.
Hey, shout out to the 49ers though, Steve. They look good.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm mostly talking about my soccer teams and like the Magic. For example, like I wouldn't wish being an Everton fan on my worst enemy. So let alone I'm not gonna make my kid. I hope my kid chooses some super rich club and he has an awesome fandom life. But it's like I'm a very big person, and again, this is two non-parents talking about parenting here. But yeah, right. I am a big not pushing things on your kids. Let them figure out. So I work with this guy named Jason Goff, who I think you know a little bit.
From Chicago, right?
Great dude. Yeah, I work with him at The Ringer. He hosts a Chicago show called The Full Go. Awesome. Check it out. He has a son, Jace, and I was talking with him about it, and I was like, hey, is he into sports? Like, are you guys playing anything? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, he's not. He likes music. He's super smart. He likes school. Like, I'm not forcing any of that stuff on him. And I was like, dude, cool. that's fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
You should let your kids figure out what they like. And we don't really know like if they're like, hey, you have to like Harry Potter. Like they're just it's part of their family and day-to-day life because their parents love it. I don't know if they're like, you have to be a Harry Potter fan, you have to do this. But I don't know. I just think that's a bad parenting technique. Like let your kid like what they like, find out what interests them, or else they're gonna kind of like resent you for all the things that you like, and you want to be able to enjoy those things with your kids. So I'm not trying to do like a parenting corner thing again from a guy who has no kids, but it just kind of bums me out. So not the asshole, but I just don't know I don't think this is going to be solved by anything you say. Their feet are in the sand, they're not moving, and they think you're the one who's being obviously unreasonable.
Totally understand what you're saying. I also feel like if you name your kid after a musician or an actor or an athlete or something that you're a fan of, you're forcing their identity for the rest of their life. Like if your cousin is like, I actually think Bob Dylan sucks, but I'm named after him. Michelle, like that's like unfair to do to your kid. Then if I'm just following down this same rabbit hole.
But let me tell you why that's not. There's a difference. like that. Those are actual names. Okay, like if you name someone Jordan, like if you name your kid, like if I name my kid Jordan Ceruti after Michael Jordan,
Right.
nobody knows that you're named after Michael Jordan. You know?
No, that's a great point. Totally.
So
Jordan's just an awesome name.
But if your name is fucking Hermione, and I'm not saying that is her name, but like if it is like Anakin, people are gonna know what that's from. Okay, and
right, like if you're Boba Fett Ceruti, that is Chewbacca.
And if you did that, I mean, you should have your kids taken away from you. But like to play, like name your kid Jabba the Hutt. But there's a very big difference between naming someone after someone with an actual normal name and naming someone after a character who, like, again, that like you can't name someone Khaleesi. You can't do it.
Like,
can't do
I'm
it.
not going to be Draco Malfoy Smallmon. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. But by the way, did you watch the Harry Potter special?
No. So after I talked to you and
it.
Maddie on New Year's Eve, I am now working my way slowly back through all the movies because I want to rewatch them all and then watch the special.
Okay, maybe once you're done with that, maybe we'll do a recap because it was very good, but there were a couple things in there that I found kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know. To put a bow on this, huge bummer. I don't. It's just there's no right answer here.
I'm going to bring it full circle to what I talked about my 2022 goal being. You need to set your boundaries. And the fact that you have told you, like, maybe you blowing up and like yelling at your mom isn't the best approach, but you need to sit down and say, these are my boundaries. I do not want to participate in Harry Potter Christmas anymore. I'm throwing away my lightsaber and giving it to charity to some kid that will really enjoy it. And I'm going to ask you to not force me to do these things anymore that I'm not interested in. Mm-hmm. The end. Period. Yep. As the kids say. Okay, last one, Steve. And we have done this on the pod before. And one of our favorite loyal listeners actually reached out to you with a real life scenario. Well, I guess all of these are real life scenarios, but a Shelley scenario, asking if he was the asshole. So I randomly met this girl at a coffee shop one day. We got to talking, and actually we ended up hanging out at the shop for 4 hours and had a great time. Soon after, we started talking and we went on a first date. Side note, her aunt ended up dying on the date, which made for some weird vibes later on. Anyway, we persevered through and we made the most of it. On our second date, we went to an antique bookstore because she loves old books. She got two books that cost $30, but it was cash only, and I offered to buy them for her because I had cash on me. She said she'd Venmo me. We get the books, and then when we're walking to the car, she asked me how much she owes me. Without really thinking, I said $30. Then she got mad at me and she wouldn't let me forget it for the rest of the night. Mind you, we had just got lunch with that, which I paid for, and it's our second date. So am I the asshole for not wanting to buy her $30 worth of gifts on a second date?
Huh. All right, I'm confused. She asked you what she owed you and then got mad when you gave her an answer. Am I reading this correctly?
Yes, I feel like this is a no-brainer. She said she would Venmo you, and that should be the end of discussion. If she offered, why wouldn't you tell her how much she owed you?
I also feel like, I mean, I feel like you know if they were joking or not, but like, are you sure she wasn't just like giving you shit in like a flirty way, right? And I think I know the answer to this because you wouldn't probably be, asking for our advice if it was like somewhat flirty. Mm-hmm. But that would be my question is like, was she like, oh, all right, I'll give you that 30. I don't know. Some people are bad at flirting. You never know. I'm terrible at flirting. It is what it is. I probably would do this.
Why don't I pay for it in makeouts?
Yeah. Or be like, oh, I can't believe you that, I don't know. I could see this being some sort of like weird flirtation situation. Right, so are we sure it wasn't that? I think the answer is yes, but I just want to clarify. I hope this person writes us back and clarifies some of these things. Cause I think I don't get it. Cause straightforward, as you said, the story, you are not the asshole. Like, you shouldn't have to pay $30 for books that she wanted and then have her get mad at you when she asked you how much she owed you. So I just think we need more clarity here overall. It's nice that you paid for, the first date, the food situation, the drink situation. But I think beyond that, you don't really owe her anything, especially on a second date.
I was just gonna say, it's a second date. You barely know this girl. Why would you be expected to buy her gifts? And my whole point is, if she offered to Venmo you, that it's not like unprompted several times you were like, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? She asked you, you responded.
What if it was this? I'm just like thinking out loud here, different scenarios. What if at the time of payment, it was like, oh, all right, $30, here's $30. And then she was like, oh yeah, just let me know how much I owe you at the bookstore. And then like a couple days later, he hits her up and goes, oh yeah, hey, by the way, it was $30. Would that be cause for her being like, hey, that's kind of sketchy?
No, because she offered.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like,
You're right, but I could see that being a little bit more weird if, like, out of nowhere he was like, "Oh, by the way, could you give me that $30?"
true. Because it's like, I mean, it's not like $30 is an insignificant amount of money, but it's not like $300. You know what I
No,
mean?
but
Like,
but from her perspective, maybe she would get upset because you're like, "All right, it's just $30. Like, calm down.
yeah,
Like, why are you
relax.
you know what I mean?" Even though I think she is wrong, I could see why she would perceive it the other way. So maybe that's what happened, and that would make a lot more sense.
I also think everything in life is like about tone and delivery. And maybe like it was, she felt like it was aggressive. I don't know. I doubt it because this listener is not like that. But I feel like unless we're missing a huge component of the story, this is such a no-brainer. He's not the asshole.
Yeah, fill in the gaps here of what we're missing. But as presently constituted, the story that you just told, you are not the asshole at all.
Yeah. Steve, should we get to a review?
Yeah, let's do it. It's been a while.
It has. Okay,
Is it like,
so
where the fuck have you guys been?
100%. Yes, this is the review. This is from Why Won't H. Title, has small talk ended? ? 5 stars. Review, Steve? I hope not.
Okay, thank you. That makes us feel better.
I mean, the shortest and sweetest. I hope not.
Yeah.
Why won't H? It has not ended. And not only are we back, but I'm actually going to see Steve in person.
What up?
In 2 weeks, and we are going to do an in-person taping of Small Talk. I don't know how that's going to work, by the way. We need to talk logistics because you only have one microphone. I don't know how we're going to do this, but we will be in the same room, which we haven't been in like 2 years.
You need to borrow an XLR mic and cable from the St. Louis station because I could hook it up that way. But otherwise, I don't know. We have to figure it out.
I don't know if I'm going to bring that with me on an international trip.
Oh, it's not like it's that. You could leave it here and then I'll ship it back. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Okay. Because I have one. I can bring it. Well, I'll text you. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see you. Like, how crazy is that I haven't seen you in years?
When is the last time I saw you Chicago?
No, well, what was first? When I saw you after the John Mayer concert in New York City or Chicago?
I think it was the John Mayer concert
and that was only literally
time.
like 2 hours. I was in the city. Steve and Maddie had gone to John Mayer and we met for a drink afterwards. And Steve was on a level 20 after seeing his boy.
I just got a t-shirt. Yeah. Maddie had a sweatshirt. We're ready to go. Let's go.
Oh my God. We closed down the bar. It was so fun.
That was a cool spot too. I think my sister told me about that. I don't know.
Yeah, she was there.
But that's right.
That was really
I forget
fun.
what the name was, but it was like, I had this like really cool, like smoky, like literally smoky drink. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I'm going to New York before I go on a big trip. I'm going to be in the city for 5 days. And I was like, I need to go to Connecticut. Like, I haven't been there in a minute. I miss Steve. I miss Maddie. I miss our friend Elizabeth. There's like a lot of people in Connecticut that I need to holler at. And so I'm just going to take the train in and we're going to hang out. It's going to be so fun.
I cannot wait. And who else do we hang out? Should we call it Bub? We got to call some other people maybe.
Oh
see
my
who's
gosh.
around.
Yes. So I meant to ask you that. Like, we need to get the squad together. Like, we need to text Ray. Like, Ray's got to be involved. Liam, if they want to come hang out.
Yeah.
Like, our favorite restaurant, though, I think I'm coming in on a Monday night and our favorite restaurant is closed on Monday.
Yeah.
I thought about calling them up and being like, can you make one exception? Because I have waited years to come here.
Give me that fried chicken taco on an off day.
Oh my God. I know. Yeah. And I would stay Tuesday, but I have to be back in the city Tuesday because I have to take a COVID test because I have to test negative to get on the plane to get out of the country. So that's kind of a non-negotiable.
Yeah. All right. We'll figure it out. But no, super excited to see you. I know this will be funny. And at some point we will be making it out to St. Louis. I know we keep saying this.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm
sure.
not gonna make it. No, seriously. Like I've actually talked about it with my buddy who was from Chicago. We're like, yeah, we'll just meet out there, do a St. Louis sort of weekend thing, hang out. I don't know. Maybe we'll go to a ball game. Well, you know what? I will be there for a St. Louis City FC game. I will be there at some point. Now that's 2023, but like I'd like to be there beforehand. But we'll see what we get. I will get there. I promise. I won't just make you come to Connecticut because I know you hate it so much.
I don't hate Connecticut. I did not give Connecticut the credit it deserved, but where we were, there's just nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And
not awesome this time of year, I'll be honest.
It's really cold. And when you first move there and you don't have friends and there's not a lot to do, you get kind of isolated. Yeah. So instead of being bummed out and isolated, I went to the city every weekend. But by the time I left Connecticut, there are beautiful parts of Connecticut. I mean, I'm not mad at the lobster roll. I'm not mad at the shore. I'm not mad at the people. I'm just mad that where we were, there was not a lot to do.
Yeah, well, as we've talked about many times, you got very bad advice, but neither here nor there. Excited for you to hang out at the humble abode, hang out with the dogs, hang out at at the place. I think you'll be here when I'm doing a Rosillo taping too, which so that might be kind of funny.
Oh my God, I have to pop in and I want to say hi to Ryan and I want to meet Kyle because I'm a big Kyle
yeah,
fan.
that's right.
I never get to listen
Kyle
to
fan.
the pod. I never get to listen to the pod. It's so annoying because I'm always like, I need to listen to the pod. But sometimes I'll like have 20 minutes to kill or whatever. And I'll be like, let me just like skip
Pop
through
life
life
advice,
advice and see what they're working on. And Kyle, I texted Ryan this. Kyle, I forget what the situation was. Obviously, like some sort of relationship drama. Oh, it was about somebody gaining weight, I think. And like a guy saying like, I don't like you because you gain or whatever.
Wait, that was a very recent one. Did you?
Oh, then it was not that.
Okay.
Because I haven't listened recently, but it was Kyle brought up Johnny Sack and Ginny Sack.
Correct.
And was basically like, that's how you need to
Goals.
ride or die for your person because Johnny Sack rode hard for Ginny, did not care what she looked like, was like, I think you're beautiful no matter what, never cheated on her, did not have a Gumar like everyone else. And she was like making Johnny Sack's lunches, riding with him through prison. And I texted Brian and I was like, that is the best example that Kyle could have ever given. I stand for Kyle. And I would just like to pop on and be like, thank you for making me laugh all the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he's a one-liner machine. So
he's
I'll
amazing.
Yeah, I will leave it.
I'll have to catch up on life advice before I'm there so that I can, give
Download them for the plane. That's
yes,
you
good
can do
idea.
that. There you go.
Well, that concludes our first Small Talk episode for 2022. Steve and I will be back in a couple weeks in person together. But until then, shout out Danny DeVito.
Where my Ravenclaws at?
Thanks for listening to Small Talk. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or the Podcast One app.